In this video, I wanted to challenge myself by building a zoo for all the nether mobs. Some can be pretty straightforward to catch, while others will need a little bit more planning. I already know this video is going to take ages to make, so let's not waste any time and jump into it. So the very first thing we need to do is find an ideal place to build the zoo. And this actually rhymes, I didn't even do it on purpose. And guess what would be the best place to build a nether zoo? The nether, of course. Okay, so we've got this large open area here, so let's get terraforming. So I actually spotted this chicken jockey, and I'd like to put him in the zoo, but I don't have any name tags on me, so we're gonna try putting him in a boat. Oh no, they don't fit. Oh dear. Okay, never mind. I'm sure another jockey will spawn at some point. Oh no! It works! Oh my god, I'm so happy. Now, I'm just worried that the jockey will actually despawn and we'll just have the chicken. And I also need to be careful about ghasts. Yeah, they're gonna be the #1 nuisance in this video. Yeah, I might quickly protect these guys and build a little wall around them. So as you can see, we have cleared out the area nicely, and we only have this weird little thing in the middle where the chicken jockey is, but that's no big deal. Now, I just need to get rid of this ghast quickly. These guys are so annoying. Oh, and I actually got a bit of ancient debris, which is quite nice. So now I think I'm gonna go get some cobblestone to make the outline, and I'm also gonna trade with my villagers to get a couple name tags. So as you can see, I have upgraded the villager quarters. Before it was just like a dirt hut and it looked really ugly. So yeah, I think this is a bit better. And now we can get a couple name tags. Yeah, I'm planning on building a raid farm later on because getting the nether mobs in the zoo is going to be really dangerous, and I'll be better off with some totems of undying, and at the same time I'll get loads of emeralds for trading. And now let's AFK a bit at the cobblestone generator. So we're back, and I just realized my name tags are useless because I forgot to name them in an anvil, but that's no big deal. So I guess now we can start tracing the outlines of all the enclosures in the nether zoo. Okay, so here is what we have for the enclosures, and I guess we will start with the chicken jockey. Now, I'm quickly gonna get an anvil before I forget. Now, I'm making things nice and easy for myself because the jockey is already in the enclosure, so I'm just gonna build around this, and then we'll get them out of the boat once the enclosure is finished. For the block palette, we will be using some gold ores, blackstone, basalt, and different types of crimson blocks. I'm basically planning on building a cute little house with a tower, and all around we will have little piles of gold, which will probably make the baby piglin quite happy. So first, we need to collect some blackstone, basalt, and crimson wood. Yeah, I'm starting to get really fed up of the ghasts, and it's only the beginning. So the first thing we're gonna do is build the wall all around using some blackstone, slabs, and walls. Now I think I'm gonna get these guys in a corner over here so that I've got plenty of space to build. And of course, we're gonna protect them from ghasts. So if the ghasts will let me, I will start building the house. So yeah, we'll have a small house here, and then in the corner will be the tower. Yeah, you will not break my house. So here is what we have for the chicken jockey home. And I just remembered that the chicken actually suffocates the rider quite easily. So I think we're gonna bring them inside the house just so I'm sure they are safe. So yeah, normally here there shouldn't be any areas, you know, where the chicken can just suffocate the poor piglin. And now it's time to name these two. So the chicken will be named Bernie, and the rider is June because in my last video I saw someone that asked me if I could name a mob June, so there you go. So next, I want to make, you know, little piles of gold everywhere, so we need to collect a bunch. Oh, and by the way, here is what the house looks like from further off. Why is the door open? Did I leave it open? Did this guy open it? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm actually gonna leave them in the boat because I think I'm just gonna forget to close the door. And now we're just gonna make some piles of gold around the enclosure. As you can see, I added a bit more color to the floor using some crimson blocks as well as soul soil. I also added a bit of vegetation. And I'm sure Bernie and June are quite happy with their new home. Next, we are going to do the wither skeleton. I already have a plan for the enclosure. We are of course going to build a miniature nether fortress. So for that, we need to go collect a bunch of nether bricks. And if I'm not mistaken, we've got a nether fortress right here. So the best place to collect loads of nether bricks without being too bothered by all the monsters is obviously these pillars at the bottom here. By the way, if you're wondering why sometimes it's super foggy and sometimes we can see, well, basically with the replay mod, it looks like that. But when I'm not recording builds, I just put Optifine to see better. So the first thing we're gonna do is mark out where I want my nether fortress to start and finish. Yeah, I'm just making a bit more space because I feel like this part is a bit too short compared to here. So on each side, we will have, oh my God, they are so annoying. So as I was saying before getting interrupted, these two parts will be, you know, like the typical bridge. And here we will actually have a little tower, a bit like the ones with the blaze spawners on top. So we're done with the nether fortress part, and next I would like to add a little hill on the side here, and then at the top I'm going to be placing some lava that's going to flow down. I feel like it's going to make the enclosure look way cooler. So at the very top I'm placing these crimson blocks so that I can then bone meal them, and then underneath we will of course be placing some normal netherrack. So I think I'll place the lava last because then it's going to be super annoying to add decorations, but yeah, it will basically be flowing down from here. I moved on to building the wall around the enclosure out of nether bricks, slabs, and walls. And finally, I went to go collect some magma blocks to spread around the enclosure and add a bit of brightness. So we are literally almost done, and all we need to do is get a bit of lava. So I'm simply gonna make a 3x2 hole, and then we can place all the buckets of lava. And now, for the fun part, let's just make a little hole right here. So now that the habitat is all done, we actually need to bring in a wither skeleton. And the first thing we're gonna do is get a bunch more name tags, because in all of my videos, this is something I forget every single time. So first, let's trade a bunch of sticks with this mister, and then we can buy a couple name tags from this guy as well. Okay, so we've got a contestant right here, and I guess we're just gonna lure him like this, and hope that he doesn't hit us too much on the way. So yeah, I need to be careful not to get lost. But yeah, I made this little bridge here so that we can cross over back to the zoo. Oh dear, he lost interest. So now I need to quickly get in and place a slab here. And normally we are done. So I'm gonna name this guy. There we go. We've got Mr. Wither Skeleton. I've actually never named a mob something so long. But yeah, there we go. We've got the second mob in the zoo. So the next mob on our list is none other than the Zombified Piglin. Now let's go inspect a Piglin. So they're mainly pink, so I'll be using some netherrack for that. And then we can also notice that half of their face is made out of bone. And finally, they also have this sort of moss going down here and their little brown pants. So for the block palette, we will be using netherrack, moss, and bone, as well as some leaves and different types of wood. So I already went to get the overworld blocks like the wood and the moss, but now it's time to collect a bunch of bones. My plan for the zombified piglin habitat is building a cute little moss house with a couple fossils behind, as well as some custom trees. I started off by building the house, so I am using some wood, which is extremely risky in the nether, but I guess I like living on the edge. The walls will be made out of bone blocks, which gives that nice white color, and finally for the roof, we will of course cover it in moss. I continue decorating the house by adding a front door, some windows, and plenty of vegetation and plant pots all around. So now that the house is done, let's move on to making the fossils. And we can also make a second one on this side as well. Please don't come towards here. So now we're gonna build a couple custom trees. Yeah, using all this wood there with the ghast right here does not make me very comfortable. And finally, for the floor, we can add a bunch of moss and vegetation. So we're all done with the habitat, but we're just missing, the outer wall, because at the moment it doesn't look very good. And I was thinking what could fit really well, with the moss and everything, is using some mossy cobblestone. So off to the jungle we go to get loads of vines. So yeah, we've got the nice mossy wall all done, and now I guess we just need to get a zombified piglin inside. I mean, this is gonna be extremely hard because zombified piglins are super difficult to find, as we all know. I mean, wow, what a surprise. There is actually already a zombified piglin in the enclosure. We're gonna name this handsome young man Jonathan. Well, I guess this is it for the zombified piglin, and we can now move on to his cousin, the piglin. So my plan for the enclosure is obviously incorporating, the blocks from the Crimson Forest, but I would also like to do some little houses like we did here, and they will actually be mushroom houses. So I've got a ton of red concrete from when I was building the aquarium last episode. So for the block palette, we will have red concrete, bone blocks, and different types of crimson blocks. And I'm just quickly gonna collect a couple more bones just to be sure we'll have enough. And of course, let's get a bunch more of these crimson blocks, even though I can just bone meal them, so I'm not gonna worry too much about them. And we're just gonna quickly get rid of this ghast as well. Okay, so we've got our little piglin mushroom houses, and we've got this random guy on the roof. So next, we're actually gonna cover up the ground with crimson. So I can either place it normally like this, or I can also bone meal it. So I guess I'll just do half and half. So as you can see, I added a couple crimson trees, and also these little ones on the side to fill in the gaps. And now all we need to do is just make the little wall going all around. So now that the piglin home is all done, it's time to actually get a piglin inside. So I think I'm gonna have to look around a tiny bit more. And we're gonna get rid of this guy before he destroys my zoo. Oh my god, where are the piglins when I need them? Oh, we've got some over there. So as I'm gonna hit one and just have him run behind me, I think I'm gonna do the crossbow guy because they do a bit less damage than this guy with his sword. Now let's see if he follows me. No, he didn't do anything. Okay, there he goes. Oh, come on. Oh, there he goes. Come on. Nope. Get in. Get in, please. Okay, so we're gonna name this piglin Bernadette. And she actually stopped shooting when I named her like that, so I guess she was very happy to finally have a name. So we've got the piglin enclosure all done, and the next mob we'll be doing is the magma cube. So at first I wanted to do like a tall basalt delta biome in here, but I remembered that magma cubes can jump quite high, so we're actually gonna make the enclosure in the ground. So first, let's dig out this entire area a couple blocks. So I went to repair my tools, and guess who spawned in the magma enclosure? A little baby magma. So now that we've dug up the entire floor, let's go over to the basalt deltas to mine a bunch of basalt. basalt. And now we're gonna replace this entire outer rim here, as well as all the walls with basalt. So this is what we have for the moment, and I'll need to move these guys, though I'm not sure how I'm supposed to do that, to be able to replace the netherrack underneath. And I saw this second magma cube over there, so I'm gonna see if it's small enough to be trapped in a boat. No, 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 not the wooden house, please. Don't do that. Thank you. Oh my goodness, why did I put wood in a Nether zoo? Oh my god, the magma cube despawned. Oh no. Never mind, let's forget about that. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to do here because I don't want the baby magma cube to jump off from the top of like a spike and kill himself. And at the same time, if I do too many spikes sticking out, maybe the magma cubes will jump out. So this is the dilemma we have. Honestly, I think we're just gonna go ahead and build some little mountains with some lava and just hope that this little guy won't go too crazy. So I've got the name tags, so we need to get this little guy out of his boat. And we're gonna name this little guy Bip. Yeah, it's an excellent name. And next, let's add loads of lava everywhere. So we actually have a choice, bringing in a small magma cube as well as a slightly larger one. So I think first we're gonna try with this one because I don't think this is the biggest size. So maybe he won't be able to jump 4 blocks. Fingers crossed. Okay, mister. So I think I'm gonna name him now. Yeah, he'll be Mr. Bob. Because with all the lava here, I prefer not to risk it too much. Okay, so I need to figure out a way to get him down. Oh my goodness, this is not what I wanted to do. Okay, he's coming. Quickly. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, and now we need to see if he can actually get out or not. Okay, I might have managed the height correctly. So we are done with Bip and Bop, the magma cubes. The next mob on our list is the Blaze. Do you know what, guys? With all these ghasts spawning, I'm wondering, should I maybe just try and catch one now? What I could do is put minecarts in some of the enclosures, and if a ghast just goes in it, then it's kind of perfect. It's decided we're doing that, so I'm gonna go get some minecarts and rails. I also went to trade with my villagers to get 2 more name tags, and when I made it back to the zoo, I started placing loads of minecarts in the future ghast enclosure. So yeah, I just placed these random minecarts and I actually put some here because I'm scared that piglins will just fill up the ones at the bottom. Yeah, I feel we are not gonna catch anything, but at least I'm trying. Okay, so let's forget about this mess and get back to the blaze. So I'm planning on making a nice tower and the terrain all around will be a bit charred and burning. For building the blaze enclosure, we will need some magma blocks, soul soil, and blackstone. Oh, and right before we start building, I'm actually gonna get some magma cream from these guys. Because basically when I'm gonna go get the blaze, I'd like to have some fire resistance potions on me. So I started off with the ground and I used a mix of magma blocks, soul soil, and blackstone to do this sort of burnt land effect. I then moved on to building the towers, so the main block I used was stone, but as for the roof, I wanted to mirror the floor a bit, so I used the 3 same blocks, and finally I thought it would be nice to light up some of the blocks. So as you can see, I left this little window here on the sides because this is where I would like the blaze to go. So now what we need to do is connect this part of the tower over to the fortress with a railway. So when I'm trying to make a bridge over, this annoying guy is sending fireballs at me, so I think I'm quickly gonna brew some fire resistance potions before continuing. So we've got the railway all done, and now it's time to bring back a blaze. So I'm gonna try and get this guy in the minecart. Come on, go in. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Oh, okay, I got one. So we'll be naming him Harry. So yeah, I'm just gonna block up the tower and I'm gonna try and get him out of his minecart as well. Okay, so we are done with the blaze. And yeah, he can now just chill in his little tower. Now, the next mob on our list is probably one of my favorite nether mobs. We are going to do the strider. As striders live in lava, I will completely cover the floor with lava, and I might add a couple small islands with some trees on top. So as the strider is super friendly, I think we're gonna get the mob before building the enclosure. So I've got a fishing rod and a saddle, and now all we need to do is combine it with a warped fungus. So we're gonna take this little guy. So I'm gonna put the saddle on him. And yeah, off we go, guys. This is so sweet. I'm actually gonna name him Tom. I feel like he looks like a little Tom. Yeah, I might just lure him up like that. Yeah, it might take a little bit of time, but that's okay, Tom. You can take all the time you need. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna feel bad if he's just, you know, cold the entire time I'm building the enclosure. So yeah, he's gonna chill in the wither skeleton jacuzzi. So Tom, I'll be back once your enclosure is done. So we've got a lot of lava to place down, but it's gonna be really tricky to work on the details in the enclosure once it's there. So I think we're gonna make little warped forest islands. So I need to go get some of this warped nylium. So we've got the warped islands all done. And another thing I need to do before placing the lava is actually redoing this wall. So I think we're going to use some of this wood here. So let's go collect some. Okay, so the wall is up, and now I need to go back and forth between the lava lake and the enclosure to fill everything up. Okay, so this is what we have for the lava lake, and yes, it looks absolutely awful. Sadly, lava does not work like water, so I'm tempted just to leave the enclosure like that. Yeah. We'll see. So I'd like to add some lava that's just dripping down from the ceiling. So I'm gonna place some right here, and we can have another one over here as well. So yeah, all we have to do now is bring Mr. Tom over. And yeah, Tom is having a guided tour of the Nether Zoo at the same time. Okay, so in we go in Tom's personal jacuzzi. So we're officially done with the strider, and he does not care less about the lava. Oh, finally. The next mob on our list is also a type of animal because we're going to do the Hoglin. We'll be using this enclosure right here, so I think we're going to remove all the rails here. Oh dear, I forgot to name Tom, so I hope the saddle prevents him from despawning. Oh dear, how am I supposed to get a name tag on him here? Okay, there we go. Mr. Tom has his name, and I can move on to the Hoglin. So I started off by covering the entire floor of the enclosure with crimson nylium. I then bone mealed the ground and added a few of these red mushroom trees. So we're done with the biome part of the enclosure, but next in the center here, I'd like to make a little Hoglin barn. And also for the outer wall, I want to use a combination of blackstone and also these crimson logs. So I need to head back to the crimson forest to stock up. Let's finish building this enclosure. As you can see, this is what we have for the barn. I will of course decorate it a bit more, but first I'm quickly gonna make the wall around the enclosure. And as you can see, I'm using a combination of nether bricks, blackstone, and the crimson logs. And now for the finishing touches of the Hoglin enclosure, we're gonna add a few little nether wart farms here and there because I feel like they decorate the biome nicely, and also it can be food for the Hoglin. As the enclosure is finally done, it's time to go get a Hoglin. So I'm gonna make a little staircase before I forget. So is there a Hoglin nearby? I think we have someone here. Yeah, you will love your new enclosure. I can promise you that. And please don't kill me. then I need to get out quickly. And there we go. We are done with the Hoglin. Oh, no, 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 no. Please. Ah, these ghasts. Oh my goodness. I mean, honestly, for the moment, I have really enjoyed myself making this zoo. Though I think I won't be saying that once we do the ghast. And yeah, my excellent minecart idea was extremely successful, as you can see. So now we're going to be doing the last, let's say, stress-free mob, because we've got the Ghast, the Piglin Brute, and the Wither coming up. So I'm really not looking forward to them at all. Speak of the devil. And yeah, we'll be doing the Enderman next. For the enclosure, I will of course be making a warped forest, and also maybe we could have a little structure using some warped wood. So first we're going to use the leftover warped nylium to cover up the floor entirely. And then of course we can add some vegetation. For the structure, I made this cool little tower out of basalt and warped wood, and then using the same block palette, I built this little church-like house attached to it. This Enderman spawned while I was building, so I'm quickly gonna catch him there in a boat. Okay, please go in the boat. No, no, no. Why is he getting in? Oh my god, this is a great opportunity. Okay, I actually don't need to name this guy because he won't despawn in his boat, but we're still gonna call him Joe anyway. So we're done with the little structure for the Enderman, and now I'm simply gonna redo the wall all around. So you might be thinking, Tootsie, this wall is not high enough. Anyone can just walk out. Well, you can trust me, Joe is not going anywhere. The next mob will be the Piglin Brute, and as I'm gonna have to go in a bastion to retrieve one, I think it's high time for us to build a raid farm. Okay, so we are done with the farm, and it's super handy now because you get these ominous bottles, and I don't have to fly around the world to find a pillager outpost. So I guess time to try things out. Well, there we go. We've got a nice bunch of totems, and I actually didn't get that many emeralds, but that's no big deal. I can just go get another ominous bottle. Okay, so let's head back to the Nether Zoo. Oh, and just for the fun of it, I actually changed my totem of undying to an axolotl. I mean, this is really cute. Come on. My plan for the Piglin Brute enclosure is building a miniature bastion with probably some lava and some trees all around. So I'd spotted this bastion when I first spawned, you know, in the Nether. So yeah, we'll be getting our Piglin Brute from here, but I'm realizing for the materials, it's a bit risky with the Hoglin. So I think I'm just gonna collect some black stone in a slightly safer place. And now, let's head back to the zoo to start building the enclosure. I just realized I don't really have like a soul sand valley dedicated biome, so I think we're gonna fill in the floor with soul sand and soul soil, and we can also add a couple fossils. And finally, I also added some crimson nylium so that we can spread some nice vegetation everywhere. So we are done with the Piglin Brute enclosure, and as you can see, I added some lava as well as a couple mushroom trees. So yeah, we are ready to welcome the Piglin Brute. So I think I'm gonna try bringing the Piglin Brute back, just chasing me. So I'm gonna make this little staircase going up. So here we have the Piglin Brute's living quarters. So I put a bunch of nether warts in the middle here, and in each corner we've got some gold and some chests in case the Piglin wants to store all his treasures. So first things first, I'm gonna make a bridge over to the bastion. I might just make my way around it and just have a look if I can see one. So we've got one right here. I just need to figure out a way to lure him. Yeah, as he's stuck, I might just make a staircase going back to my bridge. And now get ready for 20 good minutes of being chased by a Piglin Brute. Oh dear, they're coming. Everyone's coming. And guess what? The name I chose for the Piglin Brute is Emma. Like, it's such a sweet, calm name. Oh no. No, no, no. Oh my god, she hit me. This is horrible with the skeletons and stuff. Oh, Okay, oh my god. We've got the Piglin brute back in the enclosure, and we are naming her Emma, of course. Even when she's in her enclosure, she keeps being horrible with me. Okay, I am delighted to say we are done with the Piglin brute. And now it's time to get the most annoying nether mob in his enclosure, the Ghast. Yeah, I feel so stupid putting these minecarts. Like, what did I think would happen? Oh, and I actually got an extra name tag for Joe. I felt bad about the fact he was the only mob without a name tag. So in this case, we're actually going to do the opposite of what we did for every other mob here. We're going to bring the mob in before building the enclosure. Although, I will actually build like a sort of a large glass box. And yeah, I need to figure out a way to get the Ghast inside. Like probably if we use a railway. Oh no. No, not you. But yeah, we're probably going to use a railway like we did for the blaze. Okay, so hopefully this will do. And as we've got quite a few Ghast spawning in the basalt delta, I think I will try and catch one over there. So I found this Ghast flying around in this fairly enclosed area. So I placed down some minecarts and attempted to lure him in one of them. Oh my god. I think the Ghast is finally in a minecart. I have wasted 2 totems of undying trying to get this Ghast, so I'm really glad I made the raid farm. Okay, this is perfect. So now that we have the Ghast in a minecart, I need to build a huge railway back to the zoo. So I started off by making a cobblestone wall in front of the Ghast so that he couldn't see me anymore. I then started digging a huge tunnel leading back to the zoo and made this little bridge connecting it over to the glass container. Finally, I added loads of rails all the way back and made sure we had at least a 4x4 gap everywhere to prevent the Ghast from suffocating. And now it's time for the hardest part in this video, getting the Ghast on the railway back to the zoo. I think I'm going to start by carefully placing some rails over to the Ghast, just hoping he won't see me. Yeah, this is a very sneaky job indeed. Maybe if I just go quickly, let's see. Quick. There we go. So we've got the rails, and now I just need to push this guy on the railway. Oh my goodness. Come on. Okay, so the minecart is here. I can't actually get to him. Oh my god. Oh my god, did he go? Is he going? What's happening? Oh my god, I managed. Oh no. Don't. You annoying Ghast. No. Don't tell me he's stuck. I thought we were finally over with this, but no. Oh my god, please don't stop again. Oh my goodness, guys. I am delighted to see this. So now all we need to do is start destroying this railway here, and then we can start working on the Ghast habitat. I just had a really cool idea for the enclosure. We're gonna cover the ground with soul sand and soil, and then we will do a huge fossil surrounding the Ghast. So I'm starting off by placing the bottom block, and then as you can see, it gets smaller and smaller. And once this is done, we're gonna do these sort of rib-like bones that are gonna go all around the Ghast box. Let's remove all this netherrack and replace it with soul soil. So we are finally done with the Ghast enclosure, and I had actually made a name tag especially for this guy. So I'm carefully gonna try putting it on him. Ooh. So yeah, this is Annoying Ghast. I think the name fits him perfectly. And now, for the next and final mob on the list, we're gonna do the Wither. And my plan for this enclosure is building a nice volcano with some lava dripping down, and the Wither will be locked inside. So first we need to get 3 Wither skulls, and I already have looting 3 on my sword, so this is perfect. So let's go ahead and have a bit of music while we hunt these Wither skeletons. Okay, Okay, so we finally managed to get 3 wither skulls. And I've got to say, the zoo is looking pretty good. I mean, it really pops out from, you know, the usual nether terrain. So first of all, we're gonna build the huge volcano. And obviously for that, we're gonna go collect loads of basalt as well as some extra blackstone. So here we have the nice volcano, and then on the ground we've got a few small islands with a tiny bit of vegetation, but I wanted to make it seem as though the lava had burnt everything. So yeah, this is it for the wither habitat. Now we have a huge issue. Basically, to build the cage for trapping the wither, I actually need some water, and this is impossible to do in the nether. So while I think of a solution, we're actually going to start working on the path separating the enclosures and also the wall going all around the zoo. So for the path, we're actually going to use a fairly unexpected block. I was thinking, as we have the sand farm from the last episode, we could use some sandstone. So the reason I'm using this block is because it's quite clear and it really stands out compared to the colors of the enclosures. And of course, we're also going to make some extra blocks so that it gives a bit more color and contrast. For the outer wall, I went to collect a bunch of warped wood because we'll be using loads for the pillars, and we're also going to use some nether bricks, fences, and black stone. So I may have found a solution for the wither. Maybe I could try trapping him in the bedrock above the enclosure. I mean, it's sad he won't be in his volcano, but I really could not find another solution. So I'm thinking of trying this area here because we've got this little gap. So what I'm gonna do is place some obsidian underneath, and then we can add some soul sand, and then I'll be placing the wither heads here. But first, I'm gonna make a sort of tunnel to quickly make a run for it, just to be safe. Now I'm just hoping this is not a big mistake and he's gonna destroy the entire zoo. I don't know if he's in the right place. Oh my goodness. Oh my god, I'm so scared. Okay, he's not moving. Wow, I think I may have just managed. So we have the wither in the zoo. I mean, he's not actually in the zoo, but in the ceiling. But I mean, this is good enough for me because I was starting to think we were not gonna have the wither at all. So yeah, that's quite cool. So now I guess it's time for the little walkthrough of the zoo. So first we have the wither skeleton enclosure, and we've got our little friend up here. And then right behind we've got the piglin brute with the awesome mini bastion. Down here we've got Bip and Bop just jumping around. I mean, it's not the best enclosure, but I had to find a solution for the fact they can jump pretty high. Right behind, and probably one of my favorite enclosures, we've got the piglin with the really cute mushroom houses. Over here we have the very risky zombified piglin enclosure that has a little bit too much wood for the nether. And we can say hello to Mr. Tom in his kind of ugly lava enclosure. I'm really sorry I couldn't manage putting all the lava correctly. Trust me, it's harder than it looks. Over here we have the wither's volcano, even though he's somewhere in the roof. But yeah, we can hear him. It's extremely agreeable. And another enclosure I really like is the Hoglin enclosure. It's really colorful, and we've got Miss Lucy coming to say hi. How adorable. Now, an enclosure I hated doing was definitely the annoying Ghast. Over here we have the jockey with Bernie and June, and I guess they also made a friend, which is really nice. So right up here we've got the Blaze, and I actually really love the fact he's just in his tower. It's quite unique. And finally, oh dear. We have Mr. Joe, who's a little bit angry because I kind of forgot I shouldn't be looking in his eyes. Whoops-a-daisy. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I mean, these projects are really long and difficult to make, so it really helps out every time you subscribe or you like. And it's always nice to know in the comments what you thought of the video. And if there's a type of project you would like me to do, don't hesitate to tell me that as well. All that said, I hope I will see you in the next video. Love you!